Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into a really perplexing case, the disappearance of Elisa Liam.
Yeah, 2018, New York City. A 28-year-old woman, she heads out for dinner.
Right, with friends, just a normal evening planned.
And she just vanishes. No trace.
It's the kind of story that really sticks with you. So many unanswered questions, even now. And frankly, it's disturbing.
It really is. And what makes it, particularly relevant today is how the digital side of things played such a huge role, both in maybe providing clues, but also
So adding layers of confusion.
exactly obscuring things. What started as maybe a standard missing person case, it just spiraled.
Yeah, because she wasn't like packed to leave, right? She was literally just stepping out for the evening.
Phone, wallet, keys, all found back in her apartment.
And the apartment. Totally normal. No sign of a break-in, no struggle.
Nothing. It's like she just dematerialized.
But then this is where it gets even weirder, isn't it? The social media stuff.
Oh, yeah. After she disappeared, posts started showing up on her accounts.
Posts that just didn't feel like her at all.
Not her voice, not her style. It immediately made people think, okay, what is going on here? Something is deeply wrong.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to walk you through the facts as we know them, but also explore some of the main theories that popped up online. Try to make sense of this modern puzzle.
Yeah, we'll stick to the verifiable details first. What actually happened, what the police found or didn't find.
And then look at how people, especially online, try to interpret everything. What does it tell us about the case, and maybe about how we investigate things now?
Okay, so let's go back. February 2018, a winter night, Elisa leaves her apartment building.
Supposedly heading to meet friends for dinner. Just a totally ordinary action.
Right. Nothing suspicious reported by neighbors, doormen, anyone. No indication this was going to be the last time she was seen leaving.
It's the everyday nature of it that makes it so chilling, I think.
Definitely, because usually you look for something out of the ordinary just before something happens. Here, nothing obvious.
So she doesn't show up for dinner, doesn't come home. And her family, quite rightly, sounds the alarm pretty quick.
Within 24 hours, yeah, which is crucial.
Initially, you'd hope. Maybe she just changed plans, phone died,
Yeah.
Simple explanation.
But that hope fades fast when there's just silence. No calls, no sightings, nothing. It quickly became clear this wasn't simple.
Those first hours, days. Investigators must have been looking for anything, a starting point.
And the lack of any initial leads? That's unusual and deeply worrying for everyone involved.
And circling back to that really key detail, her stuff, phone, wallet, ID,
Yeah.
left behind.
In an apartment with no signs of forced entry.
It just forces you to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, if she wasn't abducted from her apartment and she didn't take the essentials you need to, well, go somewhere. Then what happened?
It points towards maybe she intended to come right back, or something intercepted her right outside her door, or very close by.
It rules out a lot of the typical scenarios, doesn't it?
It does, and then you layer on the next really strange piece, after she's officially missing, activity on her social media.
These posts start appearing, and they're not just, like, off-key. They feel wrong, like someone else writing them.
Yeah, the tone, the phrasing, it just wasn't Elisa, according to people who knew her.
Which, immediately throws everything into chaos, right? What does that mean?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. In this day and age, you have so much noise online. Was it a real clue? Was it someone trying to mislead? Was it her under duress?
Or someone else entirely, someone who got access somehow.
Precisely. And is that person involved or just an opportunist? So many possibilities.
And this is where the online speculation just exploded. Her case really caught fire in, online forums, social media groups.
Amateur detectives, web sleuths, everyone trying to connect the dots.
And you started seeing these main lines of thought develop. Broadly, was she a victim? Taken by someone, maybe someone she knew?
Or the other main branch. Did she orchestrate this whole thing? Did she want to disappear and leave this confusing trail?
The internet became this, massive crowdsourced investigation board.
Which can be amazing sometimes, but also it can generate a lot of theories based on very little. It's hard to separate signal from noise.
Especially with that digital footprint turning so dark. Those Twitter posts particularly, they seem so cryptic.
Yeah, out of character is putting it mildly. It fueled all this talk that someone else had to be controlling the account.
To do what, though? Mislead the police? Create a false narrative? Why?
That's the puzzle. If it was someone else, what was their motive? Were they trying to cover tracks, suggest she ran away, maybe even send some kind of coded message? It's all speculation, of course.
It definitely makes you think about her connections. Could someone she knew have had access? Did she have, A secret life, maybe? Something her friends and family just didn't see?
These are the questions that always come up when you have this mix of a physical disappearance and really unusual online activity afterwards. It hints at hidden layers.
Okay, but then came the piece of evidence that sort of changed the game. It became the focal point for so much discussion. The elevator footage.
Ah, yes. The security camera footage from inside the elevator in her apartment building, that's huge.
Because it's the last time anyone sees her. The last visual confirmation.
Exactly. It gives us a glimpse, however short, of her state of mind, her behavior, right before she vanished.
And what it shows is, well, it's unsettling. She gets in the elevator alone.
Yep. And her behavior is odd, to say the least.
She starts pressing lots of buttons, right? Like multiple floor buttons, the door open button, the door close button, almost frantically.
And she's looking around, peeking out of the elevator doors, back in, side to side, as if
she's hiding from someone
yeah.
or waiting for someone. It's really hard to read. Nervous, agitated, maybe.
Definitely seems anxious. Or maybe disoriented. It's not how you normally act in an elevator, that's for sure.
And then the elevator itself starts acting weird.
Right. The doors. They start opening and closing, just repeatedly, for no clear reason.
While she's just standing there, sometimes inside, sometimes kind of half in, half out.
It's bizarre. Was it just a random malfunction? Or was it somehow connected to what was happening with her?
And her reaction to the malfunctioning doors is also strange, isn't it? Almost
Yeah.
calm, or just observing it. Not panicked about the doors themselves.
Yeah, it adds another layer of just weirdness to the whole scene. A technical glitch at the worst possible time. Or something else. That ambiguity is powerful.
And then the footage just stops, cuts out.
Abruptly. Right before we see her actually leave the elevator for the last time.
That cut. It's become this massive point of speculation.
Yeah.
What happened right after? Did the elevator issue have something to do with the cut? Was the footage tampered with?
It's incredibly frustrating. You lose the visual right at the critical moment, and that gap, well, people fill it with theories.
Oh, did they ever?
Yep.
That elevator footage basically launched 1,000 online investigations.
People went frame by frame, analyzing her expression, which buttons she pushed in what order, shadows, reflections, everything.
Looking for that hidden clue, that thing everyone else missed.
And you see the power of crowdsourcing there. Maybe someone could spot something, but also the danger, right? Overanalyzing, seeing patterns that aren't there, confirmation bias.
Totally. And some of the theories got pretty wild based on that footage and the lack of other info.
You heard things like she was involved in some underground group or running from someone powerful or trying to escape a really bad relationship. Things that are hard to prove or disprove.
Without hard facts, the narrative can really run away. People try to make sense of the nonsensical.
It's human nature. We need a story, an explanation, especially for something so disturbing.
And even after the elevator footage came out, the weird online stuff didn't entirely stop, did it? There were still some odd posts later on.
Yeah, more cryptic messages appeared on her accounts. Vague, sometimes nonsensical. Some people interpreted them as, like, clues dropping. Others thought maybe it was a confession hidden in plain sight.
It's so hard to know what to make of that kind of stuff. It could be anything or nothing.
Exactly. Interpretation is so subjective. You can read almost anything into ambiguity if you're looking for it.
Which really reinforces that theory we mentioned earlier that someone else was posting as her, impersonating her online.
It seems plausible, given how out of character the posts were. The idea is someone got access, maybe they knew her passwords, maybe they hacked her accounts.
And they were deliberately posting this stuff. But again, why? To confuse people. To make it look like she was still around, but maybe unwell?
Or to steer the investigation away from them if they were involved. These are the questions, right? Who had access? Who had a motive to deceive?
Yeah, those questions just hang there. Years have passed now.
And still no definitive answers. It just makes the whole thing feel heavier, more uncertain.
We're still left asking the most basic things. Where is Elisa Liam?
Why has no physical evidence, no body, no sign of her ever turned up since that night?
It's like she walked out of that elevator and just ceased to exist in the physical world. But this digital ghost remained for a while.
That vacuum of information is why the case still gets discussed so much online. People are still trying to solve it.
So listening to all this, you have to wonder, what do you make of it all? Was she a victim of something complex, something we don't understand, a targeted attack?
Or did she choose to leave? Was this an elaborate plan to disappear, using the digital confusion as, like, a smoke screen?
The really hard part is, we just don't know. And maybe we never will.
It's a tough thing to accept, but some mysteries don't get solved. The truth can stay hidden.
So we want to turn it over to you now. What are your thoughts? What theory resonates with you, or what detail did we mention that struck you as really key or really strange?
Yeah, head down to the comments. Let us know what you think happened to Elisa.
Seriously, share your theories. Sometimes a fresh perspective, a different angle. You never know. It's like a collective effort to understand.
Absolutely. Being part of that conversation, thinking critically about these cases, it matters.
And hey, if you found this deep dive interesting, if Elisa's story caught your attention, please subscribe to the show. Give us a like.
And share it with anyone else who might be interested in these kinds of unsolved mysteries.
The more eyes and minds thinking about it, the better.
And always remember, especially with online info, to think critically. Weigh the evidence, consider the source.
Definitely. So until the next deep dive, keep asking questions, keep looking deeper, and keep searching for those truths, however hard they are to find.